Well, well, well. The DomiNation find themselves a map to the good. Inferno going their way despite all reasonable statistics saying NiP were on top. And, well, as the favourites for the server head into map 2, they've got a lot to do. Looking to hunt down the fight in mid early on. MSN taking a lot of damage and will be traded, but it's Badito from the underpass. Camion there with him on the duel. He's able to find his team the man advantage out of just about nothing. And it leaves Head Trick lurking solo as through the smoke, Coolio has dealt with Brollan, and while this call has fallen apart pretty spectacularly, Dean.
Left alone. No bomb control either. I mean, at the very least, he has this P250, which will let him take the long-range fights up mid, but it's still not a great position to be in. No one peeking for now, though, so he might have a chance to drop down and grab this bomb, depending on the timing. When they actually decide to check this, and what a shot by Coolio. Rips Head Trick's head straight off, and puts DomiNation again in the W board for these pistol rounds. I think that's 3 for 3 now, right?
I mean, you can go and check the numbers for me. I'll rattle on for a little bit.
I believe so.
No bomb plant either. Always makes the second round bye look very ugly for NiP. One flashbang is the sum total of all investment into this, and I think that's actually disappeared with the HUD as well, so that might even have been a glitch. Absolutely nothing. It's Glocks down mid, flying for all they're worth. There's the flashbang that reappears in the hands of Aleksib, but doesn't quite get them anything at all. Looking to take the fights. They do at least deal with Camion. So a kill found out of this, which realistically, when you've got Glocks across the board, is just about everything you can ask for. Problem is, the MP9s are starting to swarm. They have echo-located their opponents, and they are going to go down for a second. So a little scrappy out of that one for the DomiNation. Admittedly, just the SMGs that are going down, but would have liked to see them get through it a little cleaner, farm up a little more cash, look to treat this round as a little bit of a bonus round. Instead, with the reinvestment coming through, it's going to be a full-hearted fight for round number 3, as for the first time NiP are able to get their AKs on the board and start to show us what they're really made of on Mirage.
Yeah, it was surprising they decided to commit into that fight with the USP. Could have just tucked in, reloaded his MP9, let his teammates take a kill or two, while then he then comes back in to sweep up. But I think it's the confidence, and also just to confirm, yeah, they got the 3-0 start on both of the halves back on Inferno, so we'll see if that happens here or not. It doesn't look as likely considering NiP are able to go in for the earlier buy. We did see Forces coming in on Inferno a little bit more commonly so that they would have the stronger buy going into the first gun round on round 4. It's not really the case on Mirage. You don't need those nades quite as badly. Instead, the rifles are enough for NiP, and a 1-for-1 trade in the early stages is not terrible.
Not bad at all, considering it was the MP9, and look at the re-aggression as well. Camion posted deep into the B-apps and now will allow for the rotation to be stolen.
And Badito.
He's caught a timing as well. Brollan watched this for so long, but the sound cues as he escaped allow for him to work his way all the way out, and he'll know now that this almost certainly has to be a mid-centric play. DomiNation reading that as a B split is the likely final, and I think that's a decent enough call at this point. Smoke heads towards the top of connector. Aaron's vision will be obscured, but if Camion can get this kill, and that's the critical one, then suddenly this B split looks very one-dimensional, and suddenly Badito's flank looks all the more lethal. He's working his way towards top mid. It's a game of timings now as Aleksib wants the fight. Camion on the quick switch goes down. Badito gets one on his backstab. They know it has to be B. MSM from behind the site manages to get at least one, but he's losing all support. Stuck in the backside now as Aleksib from on high sprays him down. Config finds the kill, and Aaron out of nowhere is left in the 1v2, dinked up through the boxes, and on 39 HP with no utility left, no kit in his hands either. He's got to get out of that window, and it's not going to be allowed. NiP with the rifles get there first on the board, but again, it feels very sketchy, Dean. It felt like DomiNation had their number until the last possible second.
Yeah, I mean, it was dangerous. MSN put up a bit of a defense, managed to, I think, bring it a bit closer than it should have been, but thankfully coming up through short then Config just started swatting people down. That's exactly what they needed, so NiP edge out that round, and while leave DomiNation on a slightly awkward buy, they did have enough of rifles on a few of the players that have gone in for some M4s and FAMASs, as an initial kill goes the way of NiP. Aleksib did shoot his teammate in the back of the head, but it's not too big of a deal. Hopefully not anyway, but Badito gets a kill on towards Aleksib back on mid, so not bad at all. And that's without this boost even having given its position away yet. So if they continue pushing in towards mid, there is a chance that the FAMAS gets a drop on one player.
Nice pop flash in to catch the IGL of NiP, relatively unawares, and Badito once more as well, playing around his own smoke. Config not quite aware of the positioning, but able to rain the spray in regardless, and that's a huge kill. Will at least be traded, but that's huge that he's even able to find that, and it opens up an alleyway into this B site with Coolio solo now on short with a deagle in hand. He's calling, praying for the support, and he's just about got a FAMAS in position as he goes down to Brollan, but again, just not able to find the impact as once more it's Aaron. At least this time he's on the backstab. But a 1v2. His position a relative unknown. Brollan has worked his way into the market, and that's a solid plant for him as well, as Headtrick now starts to smell a rat, starts to watch for this exact play. It's going to be a question of timings between him and Aaron as to who gets the drop on this initial swing. Headtrick spotted out. Shot not quite landed though, and with Brollan already set, the crossfire established for any kind of over-aggression, Headtrick just needs to tuck his tail and make sure he's not spotted. Instead goes down, and Aaron, out of nowhere, has bought himself the 1v1. If he had a kit, this might well be winnable. Instead, he'll get the kills and nothing more. 5 HP. The bomb will take him down surely as he hightails it in towards CT spawn. No, keeps the rifle, but it's NiP who keep the honors of round 4.
It's incredibly close. I mean, just as you said in the round before, it's not NiP taking these rounds as convincingly maybe as they'd want, but it was the force buy. One M4 being retained isn't a ton for DomiNation to work with, but considering Aaron done that damage and made sure no one survived, if he can get 1 or 2 kills, if the pistols can contribute a little bit as well, then they could make it a very expensive round for NiP. DomiNation ideally do want to be coming back to life as early as they possibly can here on this CT side and start building up some rounds again for themselves. Otherwise, it's going to be a tough one. As we said, this is an incredibly strong map for NiP, and they do tend to be a little bit CT-sided as well. So if you can continue on building up T rounds, they'll be looking good. But no, the aggression in towards the ramp. A flash from Coolio assists that M4 with an opening kill, a weapon that might be recovered at some point. Actually, has already been picked up. My bad, I didn't realize he pushed all the way in. Somehow missed that. But an AK for MSN, no Kevlar, but it's still going to be potentially incredibly useful if they can play off each other, set up some crossfires and such.
Yeah, the problem is they've misread it. They want to get more aggressive out towards B with the pistols, and unfortunately NiP are going to be working their way in towards the A site. I mean, the rifles are here to do work. You've got Aaron watching for any cheekiness into CT, MSN around Ticket, just seeing if he can catch a pick, but with NiP cutting noise, getting quiet, it's a question of timings. The aggression over towards B has confirmed that it is going to be the A-site play, but they need to get something out of these initial crosses. MSN looking very crispy as he trades 1-for-1. Wallbang does good work against him, though, and Headtrick, taking advantage of the lack of armor, takes his man down. Through the smoke, Camion has somehow done 70-odd damage with a USP, which keeps them interested in this one, as Headtrick does finally find his mark. I mean, an M4 and a Deagle could certainly do some damage here with Headtrick caught down low, but he's able to deal with it before the shot connects. And at this point, again, with the backstab in tow, it's just a matter of waiting and finding Config that final kill. So NiP take the lead at 3-2, but again, good damage considering how little they brought into the round. DomiNation is still causing NiP problems.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when they've had a couple of weapons in play, they've made it incredibly expensive, and even with very little now, they're managing to keep NiP on their toes. Galil, even in the hands of Brollan here, not quite able to get his AK. Although that was maybe just given over to him because he didn't spend too much. Could have pulled out an AK with no utility if he wanted, but obviously that's not where you want to head with a bias. It's a very aggressive play from 2 of them on mid, and Aleksib just rips it apart. 2 instant headshots. Short control for Config. There is a bit of a gap in the smoke there that maybe Aaron was tempted to beat, but decides against that, and it was probably for the best. Unfortunately, that means they have very little info about what's going on mid. About the fact that there's already a player that's crept up in towards the ladder room. And connector as well. They can really bring this anywhere.
Yeah, Aleksib should have gutted this round now. This one should be a goner. 2 quick picks in towards middle completely dissipates any kind of control they had. Config now working his way through ladder into the window, gets himself a freebie onto Aaron. And at this point, it's just about executing in and making sure your trades are clean. Rez very nearly gets caught off guard, but able to adjust to a slightly wayward spray from Coolio. Finds himself the kill. The bomb will go down. This round should then just fall apart. I mean, you can hunt down the last rifle as well, make it that little bit more expensive for Badito, and that's exactly what they go for. All 5 players kept alive as well. Some nice wins in that one for NiP, and I think we're starting to see a little bit more what we expected from NiP, right? A little bit more what we were hoping to see in map 1. Starting to really find their feet. The individuals starting to fire off. I mean, Aleksib, not necessarily the star of the show in this NiP lineup, but still more than happy to contribute where required. And with DomiNation back down onto a half buy again, Deagle's forced up a handful of HEs to maybe try something cheeky. This one should start to slide further and further towards NiP's side of the scales.
Yeah, and again, NiP tend to be a little bit CT-sided here on Mirage, as you'd expect. So the fact that they're already building up such a strong B side is a very good sign in comparison to what we got from them on Inferno. Only pistols in play right now. Already 1 kill being found. That's not too bad, but it's going to be tough to really get anything more as this B push starts to come in, unless the Eagles hit some shots here and now. And there we go. Badito shuts down Config with a solid trade. He's going to be overrun any moment, and really the best would have been to maybe take one more into the grave. That doesn't happen though. Aaron's got an M4, and at this point it's probably worth just saving that weapon forward.
I mean, the nade's getting them a kill. That's not bad. The Deagle finds a second. Aaron, as you said, now with a rifle in hand, might do well to hold on to it. He's actually managed to dink down head trick to a single point of health as well. That M4A1 continuing to betray CT sides. Got to imagine at this point they'll know the damage is done and likely go and have a little bit of a sniff as Aleksib is starting to clear his way through the underpass. But a 5th on the board, not a bad result for NiP by any means. I mean, they keep 3 alive. Head trick deep in towards Ticket, as I confirmed that they will keep 3 alive. So the economy will keep building on the T side. They're keeping the CTs under pressure, but DomiNation aren't just bowing down in these rounds. They found a good couple of kills. They've managed to salvage an M4A1 to bring forward into the next. So it's not a bad net result for the CT side either.
No, could be worse. You've got to find some silver linings. Got everything they need here in this round as well. There's absolutely no weaknesses, so if there is a time that they're going to come back alive, hopefully it'll be here and now. They do really need to start adding some rounds onto the CT side. Ideally, they don't really want to be dropping maybe 1 more, so it's going to have to be a dramatic turnaround in performance. We haven't seen really anything from them since the guns came out for NiP, but there we go, a change up, boosting that up in towards the B apartments and playing that crack angle, and well, needing to be a crack shot as well if you want to land it, and that's exactly what we get from MSN. Camion notes there was a player pushed up very aggressively on short, but they've pretty much abandoned that for the moment, waiting instead on head trick to come out from under so that they can work for this control together.
Just what the doctor ordered, that pick. NiP were working their way into a very heavy B-lean default. 4 players in the B apartments. That 1 pick has warded them off almost entirely, as now they're going to work their way into mid. Player lurking on the ramp in the form of Brollan as well, so potentially the A splits on the cards, but CT side are well positioned to deal with it. Badito the first one to take his mark. MSN able to trade that death cleanly enough, and with Aaron taking out the ramp player, this one starts to fall apart again. Aaron wants more blood and he'll find it, swinging into the corner of Rez. Headshot deals with that, and Aleksib, well, he's had a few decent moments on the rifle so far on Mirage, but with an early kill onto Camion, bringing him down to just a single point of health, this one's going to look a little tough. Nice movement to get himself at least into ladder room quietly, but you've got to imagine Coolio sat on this angle will be ready and willing to deal with the issue, and indeed he will. DomiNation, the rifles come out, the CT side starts to click again, and they're only a couple of rounds away from starting to put that economic pressure back on NiP. If they can keep it going, if they can keep finding ways to get MSN impact on that AWP, this one could still be a game.
Yeah, as long as they string it together now, if we get any back and forth, then that CT economy just will not be able to handle it. NiP's economy, while it would be in a rough position if they were to lose this round, they're on the T side. It's a little bit easier to make those buys happen, especially if they can get a bomb plant out of this round. So definitely DomiNation feeling the pressure a little bit more. Heavy Palace presence though. This is a change.
Got to be a pop.
NiP right now. Yeah, most likely. They do have a player coming out through under as well, so it's going to be the split up through connector, but it's a decent setup from DomiNation. They have what I like to refer to as the triangle of doom, as you can see if you're looking at the radar right there. If things go right, they do have the ability to at least play off each other, depending on where these smokes and flashes go.
It's a game of timings, and they're going to fly out of Palace here. Brollan with a quick double. Both headshots on the entry. Make it all three. The triangle of doom was doomed from the start, you could say, as Brollan finds all three headshots. Round is a goner. We catch the back end of that A-site execute, but, well, they call it the Palace pop for a reason. Brollan pops out of Paris and pops some heads. Coolio and Camion left. Just looking to hold on to these rifles, but a 6th on the board for NiP. And I think this is going to be the concern now for the DomiNation, right? We spoke about them coming out of the blocks quickly on Inferno. They did. We spoke about them fighting and brawling their way through the mid-rounds. They did, and they stole that first map away. But all of those rounds, all 28 of them, were just getting NiP warm, getting them into the server, and getting them ready for their map pick of Mirage, which is starting to look increasingly one-sided. I mean, a 3-man lean into the A site, a well-placed crossfire, and Brollan has just demolished it as Config. Even taking one more of those rifles away before the death makes it a little bit more painful still for the CT side.
Yeah, painful is probably a good way to describe it. They're able to at least invest into this again with what they saved forward, so at the very least, they're not back onto the pistols quite yet, but if they take this, it's 7-3. It is likely the eco. At best, some pistols and Kevlar coming in, and very likely be 8 already on that T side, which is too much for DomiNation to give away. But there we go. For the first time in a little while, we do see that initial kill going the way of DomiNation, but it's happened before. Weren't quite able to capitalize on it, so let's see if that's the case this time around. They're not. Molly forces them forward. Aleksib calls for Rez to come in and help him out and says we need to go now or never. And it works out again. The entries, the headshots, they're racking up for NiP as they just overrun that A bomb site and send DomiNation already in towards the save. They had no real choice.
It's a tough one to watch, but just getting absolutely battered, as you said. I mean, it's an awkward fight in mid to start things off. Config spray goes a little wayward, and you think maybe, just maybe, that 5v4 is what they need. But, well, NiP don't waste any time, right? Almost 10 seconds after they get that call, straight into the A site, take your 2 riflers, Rez and Brollan, pop them into a kill apiece, and, well, the job is done. The job's a good one. 7 on the T side of Mirage for NiP. This is looking better and better. They'll keep 4 alive for the next. I mean, silver lining maybe that the CT side are able to save. 3 rifles will give them something to work with, but even the aggressions, even the nice ideas we're seeing popped across the map are not saving them anymore. I think we're starting to see that disparity between the lower tiers and the higher tiers of Counter-Strike rear its ugly head once more.
Yeah, it's a decent time, I suppose, for a timeout. I would have maybe liked to have seen it a couple of rounds ago, but still a few to go. They need to turn it around real soon, though, and it's going to be an awkward one. I mean, they can just about drop over the 2 weapons they need here. The utility should be decent as well, so they have managed to keep on scraping these buys together, but that's just about, and only thanks to being able to keep to the fact that they keep on saving weapons forward, so it's not exactly how you want it to be going. 7-3 on the T side for NiP, and you can see why they chose Mirage, despite it, as I mentioned before, being one of the 2 go-to maps for DomiNation as well. In recent times, when they don't pick Inferno, they do tend to go towards Mirage.
So far, not looking like a comfortable map for them, to say the least.
I mean, they don't look terrible. NiP just look that much better.
Yeah, they look like they're warmed up, don't they? They look like they're ready for it. In the mid-aggression, it's a little bit of a one-way smoke. Config gets 1. The HEs at least will trade, but almost immediately Aleksib is there to back his star up. Finds the man advantage. If but for a moment, Brollan finally shut down on his mischief in towards Palace. How many times have we seen him swing out there for a headshot or 2? Instead, it is just this mid-play remaining. And Aaron wants a piece of the action, playing around the smoke, suspecting that maybe somebody has worked their way into the window, and just as Rez does, he goes for the pre-fire, finds the double dink, and finds his team that man advantage again. More like it, as aggression across the board from the CT side finds Badito clearing out the B apartments and working his way into the underpass. This is one of those aggressions which can work out well or awfully, depending on your timing. For now, it looks like he'll be left relatively undisturbed, able to control that portion of the map freely. Not quite sure if a timing's happened, though, so Aaron has been dragged across to support the B site, and it leaves MSN a little bit of a cult hero for this DomiNation roster so far. That AWP has sung on multiple critical rounds. In need of a little bit of a heroic play. Needs to buy time for this backstab for Badito to work his way down, and that's exactly what he does. Hides deep into CT, gives them nothing. They shift on in, they shift to their deaths. And Headtrick, whilst he picks up one and grabs the AWP, has left the bomb behind him with 10 seconds on the clock. The rounds are gone, and DomiNation start their recovery.
We'll take another at least to the graveyard, so the economy of DomiNation, despite winning this round, is really going to be on edge. I mean, it looks a little bit worse than what they've had coming into some of those recent buys, but they should still at least have their weapons. Badito can maybe drop one. He's actually given the off back to MSN, so it would have been MSN who needed to drop over to Coolio, and I don't think that's happened. Yeah, he's going to be stuck on towards the FAMAS, but I mean, it's not terrible. They have everything they need elsewhere. The ops back in play, of course, being saved forward. They have all of the utility pretty much they could ask for, so DomiNation, they have their chance to chain a couple rounds together. Really get something going again, but if it doesn't work out, then they're in a lot of trouble.
Do or die time for the CT side, and MSN steps up to the mark. Headtrick looking for the early ramp peak is put down. And NiP again, starting to perhaps fall into the habits of Inferno. Isolated opening pick given away. Nobody really there to trade the position. Still looks like they want to test this A site, however. They have got the utility. A couple of smokes, plenty of flashes to plan out this execute. And they are going to actually flash to Aleksib on the AWP into this angle. MSN on the timing, able to find a second, and not quite sure where that play comes from. Aleksib calling that he wants the AWP in hand. He's put down. Brollan the next to fall as he looks to trade out of Palace. And this one starts to look very one-dimensional indeed. Config and Rez trying to recover the bits and pieces, but MSN is having absolutely none of it. Puts down his third AWP of the round, and as Aaron cleans up house, that is very smooth sailing for the DomiNation.
Yeah, I mean, it's two players that do all of the work that time around, but it's good to see that there is some of the stars coming alive. I mean, MSN kicks things off. He manages to come out with a 3K in total. Aaron as well, up on 12 and 8 right now, finds himself a good round. We have the players coming alive that need to be performing right now for DomiNation, and if we can have the likes of Badito start to step up as well alongside them, Coolio and Camlin as well, then I do see the opportunity for them to get back into this half and into the game, and I think NiP realized that as well, because they've gone for a pause. Their money has finally been expended completely, and although they are going to force here, it's 1 AK and off a Galil and some pistols, so it's not fantastic. And I mean, yeah, they lose this one, suddenly they're on an eco. It's tied back at 7-7, and the DomiNation, if they can win that final gun round, could come out with the lead at the halftime, which looked pretty much impossible just two rounds ago. Yeah, literally. So yeah, the chances there. DomiNation can still recover this half, but they need to overcome this half by right now.
As you said, get past this and greener pastures await. Question is, can they hold off? It's going to be a straight A play. No messing about from NiP as they go fast out into the A site itself. Badito full blind. Brollan takes advantage, and now Aaron has got to be very careful. Can't afford to go down that cheaply. Brollan's hero AK finds the double that opens up the entire round, and it's a big call now. The economy is not well established for the CT side, but they want the fight. Flash through. Brollan is feeling it. Very nearly the double. His IGL trades it down. And MSN, well, he's left in a very ugly spot now, trying to hold on to that AWP. The pre-fire puts him down. And it's another big round going the way of NiP. As you said, it was the opportunity for DomiNation to think about coming back into this first half. Instead, Brollan's magic on the AK-47 gets it done for NiP. And it puts DomiNation in a very awkward spot. Yes, they will buy, but the utility is gone. And if they lose this one, they are looking at a very rough financial situation for the last round of this first half.
Yeah, and now NiP no longer really are in that position. Or even if they lose this one, they could scrape something together for the final round. And no matter what, they have a fantastic T-side already on the board. Config with the initial kill. MSN, I think, is about to be spotted. Has he seen the legs himself? No. It looks like the smoke's doing enough of a good job covering things off for the moment. Either way, it's still that man advantage early on for the T side. Julio jumping up on Apps is going to get caught as the timing is horrible. And it's a 5-on-3. We're seeing a response from DomiNation with this Palace aggression coming in, but I'm not sure how much that's really going to do for them right now, unless he wants to go for a full-on flank, and even then it would need to be really fast. Right now, there's players I thought mid that would hear him, and it looks like B is probably going to be splitting on pretty soon. Although they might be just trying to set a bit of a fake.
The timing is everything here. MSN currently completely alone on B. The fake has started to draw rotations as Rez wants to work his way up connector. This backstab from Aaron could get its chance. Aleksib still keeping 2 over towards the B site though, and it's a little too slow from Aaron. He knows that he's got to be quiet for the sound cues. Aleksib finds another kill, and that'll be enough to drag him into the B site play itself. The bomb works his way out onto A, and NiP, well, they chuckle, shake their heads, and realise that they've done everything they need to. How on earth has Aleksib got that? Does a 180 on 1 HP, takes the head clean off the next man, and somehow NiP keep 5 alive for their 9th round of the T side.
Up to 9, double digits probably to come now off the back of that. It's going to be a pretty weak buy from DomiNation, yeah. I mean, we say that, but maybe we jinx it. Perhaps the weaker weapons will inspire DomiNation to try something crazy and catch NiP off guard, but it really shouldn't be the case. NiP set up for a 10-5 half and unlikely to take us to Ancient, where I think they'll be sitting as pretty clear favourites. Going towards Palace, I think it's just trying to play in the smoke itself. There's a player just going past them. Okay, Brollan walks through. They surely won't expect Aaron behind now, but it doesn't matter. With an MP9, it's 1 and done most likely, and indeed, despite the dink on Rez, he leaves them on 1 health. That is horrible. He tried his best to prove me wrong when I said 1 and done, but just couldn't get quite there.
MP9 spray, never the easiest to rein in, and as you said, just so desperately close to keeping his team in this one. Instead, Coolio and MSN grouped up in towards top of connector. Not going to get any chance to have impact on it. They've got to give it a go. Last round of the half and all, but Config already gutting them. MSN won't find any more. 10-5, double digits for NiP as we head to the halftime break.
So you say you got a new one. I know that you're trying to believe that you can fake a whole scenario just to make me jealous. Your shadow keeps stalking, and we should stop talking, but we got that special something. Say it like you mean it, I won't fake it and believe it when I see it. But for now, I just be breathing, doing nothing. I won't give in if you won't make a move right now. Oh, why do we go 360? You're hesitating, how it's busy. You know we always can go easy. Won't you let me know? Why do we go 360? You're hesitating, how it's busy. You know we always can go easy. You should let me know. Oh, I will be clear now. Patience is really not my key, but if you play your cards right, I might just think about it twice. Yeah. Say it like you mean it, I won't fake it and believe it when I see it. But for now, I just be breathing, moves, but you're staying behind. How come you don't get it when I say it like that? Like that, like that, like that. I've been giving clues and you're acting all blind. Trying to make some moves, but you're staying behind. How come you don't get it?
NiP starting to show us why they were the favourites coming into this series with a big 10-5 T side on Mirage. Headed to the CT. Plenty of room to work with, plenty of space to take this one to that decisive final map of Ancient, as an early A execute is called in by the T side, and a relatively sparsely occupied A site is looking to be overrun, but Rez and Brollan immediately finding a headshot apiece to make it a little ugly before Aaron and MSN trade it back, buying a little bit of space. But again, the kills just keep on coming for NiP. They keep on brawling to buy themselves a 2v2 with a fast backstab coming in. If Config gets this kill on the low HP MSN, that should be job done. Aleksib is left up against Aaron in the 1v1. It is carnage across the board. And the bomb is deep inside the A ramp, Dean.
Definitely slows down things, unfortunately, for Aaron. If he had have went quickly, likely would have gotten it and had the chance to bring it back towards site. Now, though, Aleksib has already worked his way back into the spawn. Maybe not expecting this palace push, though. Yeah, this might work out. The timing, though, just as he moves his crosshair back is when the peek comes in from Aaron, but it doesn't matter. He wins out the fight. He lands the headshot, and he takes DomiNation up to 6 and gives them a lifeline that is a necessity. If they lost that, it would have been 11, most likely 12-5 then before they got the guns out, and it would have been a desperate position to be in. Instead, they have an opportunity to close in this gap a small bit before the real weapons get into the hands of NiP.
Gonna need a big T side, to say the least. I mean, we've seen what they've got. Good potential, good individuals. Been able to pull out some pretty magic moments across these opening map and a half. This one for NiP should be a goner, as you said. Just the default pistols across the board. Had a tough old time with the pistol rounds, NiP. Potentially part of the reason DomiNation have been running this one so close. I think that makes it 4 from 4 now, as the fake utility will actually draw the entire rotation out of the B site. Stack right as the B site hit looks to come in, and that one, well, it's a little unfortunate, but up on the full USPs, you're not going to be too fussed about it.
No, I mean, the hope was to get something, though, but considering they still have a bit of a gap here with 3 rounds between them, I don't think it will be immediately leaving NiP and leaving them scared, rather. But depending on how the first gun round here goes, things could get worrisome. If it's another clean gun, if it's a clean round, rather, with it pretty much being a bonus for DomiNation, they take this one, then they could be off to the start that they need on this T side to potentially build up the comeback, which is going to be a pretty long road, of course. There we go. I mean, a Mac 10, a couple of Galils kept in play. That's the plan. Expecting, I think, aggression from NiP.
They are thinking about it as well, peeking out a short, peeking out a top com, but as the secondary pop of the execute starts to come through, NiP will be forced to respect it. They need to come in to start chipping away, and Aleksib, well, he continues his streak here on Mirage of getting damage, finds an opening pick. Teammates do lose it though. Camion working his way into an angle in mid before he's traded down, and this B site starts to look vulnerable. Aleksib, he's been the hero of the hour a couple of times now for NiP, but mollied off his angle of choice. Stuck inside of the site itself, dueling with a smoke, dueling with Badito, and coming out on top. The critical kill is found. The question now is, how much do DomiNation want to commit to it? The bomb's still in the apartments. They've got a secondary option, a fallback plan that involves Aaron catching rotations. But it does look like they want to chance their arm, potentially with a play out towards A.
Fortunately, there's already a rotation in through short from Aleksib, and, well, he's only going to get one of them, but I don't think the second player up close on short will be expected. It's a free kill for Brollan, and with that, an 11th round on the board for NiP. They come alive as soon as they get the M4s in their hands. As we said, though, it was a bit of a bonus round approach. Unfortunately for DomiNation, they could have done with a bomb plant as well. It would have been nice just to give them some utility behind the rifles that they're about to buy, because it's a little bit on the edge of being kind of bad. And yeah, they realized that. They decided to call in the pause rather as well. See exactly what they're going to go for. I mean, considering they're already down 11-7, I don't really see the half buy being much of an option. They do kind of need to go for it, but we might see a Galil or two just so that they have the nades they need for whatever sort of plans, whatever sort of executes may come in. So
worth mentioning that Aleksib is absolutely flying on Mirage. It's one of his better maps normally. It's one he's quite comfortable on, but he dropped 11 kills in the entirety of Inferno. 17 and 10 here, a triple kill in the last round to keep his team in it. Doing a fantastic job of anchoring down these sites, and he does seem to be the difference maker at the moment, just keeping DomiNation busy, finding a couple of picks here and there, consistently able to find damage. And as you said, it's put them in a very awkward situation here, down by 4, NiP 5 rounds away from taking their map pick, and in need of a little bit of magic. Fast play out onto the A site is the call. Brollan good for 1, the trade will come through, and Rez only on the 1-for-1 as well. Good damage onto MSN and Badito. But if that flank can maybe find a little bit of damage, this one could still be on. Headtrick has caught the push into CT. Coolio's position known, but not yet dealt with, as down on 25. He should be able to escape out of mid here, or will he? Commits to the fight just a little too hard, and it leaves MSN. He's tucked himself into top connector here. Bomb is not planted for this position whatsoever, so he's in a little bit of trouble. Knows he just has to play time. The bomb already beyond halfway ticked, and they're not clearing con. The bomb's not planted for there. Why would they? Config now into the 1v1. Needs to grab himself a kit. Baits it with the smoke and swing. And the kit should be in a position to recover it, but no. He's bailed out. I don't know if he had time with the kit or not. He doesn't think so. It's a miracle round for the DomiNation. Should have been gone before it began, but the bomb, the timer, is their ultimate friend. The gap now at just 3 rounds, and the economy very questionable for the CT side.
Yeah, I think by the time he got the kit and reached the bomb as well, he probably would have been a second or two short on time. So yeah, that probably was the correct call to make. But I mean, you're always going to slightly wonder. Either way, 11-8 still, as you said, though, DomiNation coming back to life in a round that really shouldn't have been happening, and that was nips to lose, and they did. And given a chance to DomiNation to again establish some sort of a footing in this game. There's an AK, there's a Deagle, a couple of kills, 2 or 3 even, I think would make this worthwhile for NiP, so that they can just come back to life once they have their own guns. Standard on the setup, but they've got a bit of a boost going in on B. For the moment, though, it's also just the default from DomiNation, so they're not set up to go anywhere, waiting to see what NiP are up to.
I like it. You've got to be a little cautious in these sort of rounds. Config is playing ahead of the angle, though, and on the one saved AK-47, he taps out one. MSN goes down, and that starts to make this T side just a little bit cautious. Aleksib hopes to catch the timing of his own, and he is put down, so Config now strung out in middle. Aware that he's got to watch multiple angles at once, and, well, he does well. Jumps in for a second onto Coolio, and Config is making this increasingly sketchy for the T side now. Manages to hide himself back in connector, and that allows Rez on the Deagle upgrade to swing and find another, and suddenly what was a nigh on full eco is starting to get very, very scary indeed for this T side. 28 seconds left on the clock. They need to fire this kill, and Badito does. Nice timing. That's the rifle down. Now, 1 Deagle and 2 USPs in a 2-on-3. If Rez can catch one on the cross, this is doable, but it's Brollan instead. A 1-tap USP headshot onto Aaron, and Badito is stuck in no man's land. Nothing he can do, and NiP, right as DomiNation look to fight their way back in, have pulled off the miracle, the 1 in 100 round that they desperately needed. They want the AK after time as well. They swarm on his position, and that is devastating for the DomiNation.
Literally worst case scenario. Not only are the other 4 players already on a double eco, so they have to force buy either way, but Badito only gets the 600 for himself because he dies after time. It is a horrible spot. They're on the force. If they lose this, they're down 13, most likely 14-8 before they have any sort of rifles again in their hands, and that could be the last gun round. So there's maybe one more gun round here for DomiNation. This is worst case scenario, as NiP managed to already kick things off with a kill. Head trick Shuts down that mid peak on the up, and well, there really shouldn't be too much trouble, I wouldn't imagine, although I would have said the same thing in the previous round for DomiNation.
Unfortunately, Headtrick's double pick to open up this one makes it even more sketchy. Handful of upgraded pistols left on the board. Will want to do at least a bit of damage here just to keep NiP on the ropes. I mean, you look at their financial situation, they are near enough full invested into this one. So if you can take away 2 rifles with these 3 remaining pistols, then you at least keep yourselves in the hunt here of your DomiNation. Group back over towards the A site. It's a nice call. Brollan isolated in towards the fireboxes. I mean, they won't have the utility to clear him out, but potentially the manpower to overwhelm is a possibility. Actually playing on top of the boxes as well. It's an off angle, but it leaves him vulnerable to the swing. As Badito on the Deagle is going to start testing these angles. Camion in a good spot to trade it as it comes, but Brollan a little bit swifter on the draw, gets his freebie, backs away, knows he doesn't have to face the headshot angle. His teammates are there to support it. And smooth sailing indeed for NiP as they get 13. The full eco to follow. 14 on the board before DomiNation can buy again. Ancient is very slowly but very surely appearing on the horizon here, Dean.
Yeah, the 3-map series, you knew it was a possibility. We just didn't exactly expect it to go down like this. DomiNation, I mean, they've had a few moments here on Mirage that have shown they're clearly capable, but they've just let moments slip that they shouldn't have on the first half, and definitely here on the second half as well. And maybe could have closed this gap a small bit. Instead, they get maybe one more gun round here coming into the next one after they get shut down with not a single point of damage dealt out by those pistols. 14-8. It's AKs across the board. There's no op available for MSN, unfortunately, and he was having a lot of impact with that on Inferno. That's something that's been lacking throughout this entire map, though, unfortunately.
It's a tough one to swallow, but NiP just showing the different in class here. Showing what they're made of. Looking very, very smooth on the CT side of Mirage, you have to say. More aggression called this time into underpass. Goes Headtrick. Rez there to back his man up. The question of timings here for the DomiNation. The aggression into B will confirm that this is open and will give them an idea of what's to come out on A. But if they can pop out of Palace cleanly enough, there's still a chance here. Brollan not having any of it. Headtrick picks off the secondary push in mid, and now it's all on this rampant Palace play. They're trying to get out. They're trying to stay alive, but they're losing their lives far too quickly. Spammed down. Aleksib spots them, not even needed, as the nade's dunked in on its man. And Badito, whilst he gets one clean headshot, the trade is instant. NiP have their 15, and they are looking to Ancient.
Yeah, this looks to be the end of the road, a very dominant CT side. We were kind of, I stressed it a couple times, that they do tend to be CT sided here on Mirage as well, so they needed, DomiNation needed to pick it up back on their own CT side. Fortunately, just letting a few swing rounds go that could have made the difference. Now they're left scraping together an investment to try and fight for this overtime. 7 rounds in a row is what they need. Normally, I wouldn't say impossible, but being on the T side here as well definitely makes it a bit more difficult. Straight in for the B rush, though. We haven't really seen much of this.
First time.
There's only one player in place. It's only Aleksib for the moment. He is going to drop the smoke to try and narrow the number of angles he has to deal with, but he's only good for the one before he's traded on. So a bomb plant at the very least should be available.
Nice call against the double AWP setup as well. Config trying to push the issue. Will go down to Badito. Fast B play's got them a lot of work done. MSN gets the better of Headtrick on the timing as well. And this round looks like a solid one. Camion spamming down will deal with Rez, and Brollan is left to try and pick up the pieces. DomiNation deciding that they're not quite done with Mirage just yet. Will have their 9th on the board, barring any miraculous moments from Brollan. Realistically, he's just looking for the exits. I mean, T-side saving a double AWP, if you're trying to look for negatives, not the ideal. MSN should have his stripped away, but Brollan looking a little off form, and on 2 HP, the AWPer will swing to find his mark. 9 on the board for the DomiNation. The buys will keep on coming for NiP, and you've got to imagine they will put it away eventually, but that will probably be their best opportunity so far, and it's a rough one for them. the B rush cuts them down.
Yeah, we haven't really seen much of that. They've been playing a very timid style throughout Mirage here in comparison, especially to what we've seen from them on Inferno, where clearly they had more confidence backing them up. So maybe they found what they need to do here, but when you're already down 15-9, that aggressive style can be very, very risky, and it can be difficult to keep yourself in that mindset as well. So we'll see now, especially once they have now that they have the rifles in their hands again. They had to try something crazy in that previous round. Is it something they necessarily want to do here again, though, is the question. Either way, the money is still pretty solid for NiP, so 2 more gun rounds before they really break it down. They have a long way to go as the initial kill is picked up by Headtrick once again, as he, time and time again on the CT side, just has free reign with that up.
Brollan's grabbed another as well. Down the ramp, he's dealt with his man, and this one is gone. 4 kills. In quick succession, secure surely map 2 for NiP. Headtrick ready and waiting to finish the job, and it will be a 16-9 demolition job from NiP on map number 2. Making it look very, very simple as well as they headed over to that CT side. As you said, their stronger side, one they were definitely looking to get the job done on. They did exactly that, and I think that's going to bring them a lot of confidence heading into that decisive map of Ancient.